members of the press, the American public, and people of the world. We are here today to disclose the truth about a subject that has been ridiculed and questioned, denied for at least 50 years. The men and women who are on the stage and the some 350 additional military intelligence witnesses to the so-called UFO matter and extraterrestrial intelligence can prove and will prove that we are not alone. In 1993, a group of military advisors to this project and I met out in the countryside in Virginia. And we decided that it was time for civilians, military, intelligence, and other people to come together to disclose the truth about the subject which is called UFOs. Since that time, I have personally briefed a sitting director of Central Intelligence, James Woolsey, President Clinton's first CIA director. I have personally briefed the head of the Defense Intelligence Agency, the head of Intelligence Joint Staff, members of the Senate Intelligence Committee, many members of Congress, members of the European leadership, the Japanese cabinet, and others. And what I have found is that none of them are surprised that this is true.
Dağın tepesinde bir şey var orada. Bu ne?
Yaklaşsana abi, yaklaşabilir miyim?
O ne? Bu ne ya?
Dağın tepesinde ha, dönüyor mu?
Dönüyor.
Bak altındaki ışıklar dönüyor.
Aa bak öteki ışık taşlı yanından değil mi? Allah Allah. Lan bu ne? Ya yaklaşmayın bozulacak görüntü.
Yaklaşmıyor.
Abi uçanlar değil mi? Ya hadi be bu.
Ben önce inanmıyordum.
Abi yok öyle bir şey canım. Ufo mu olur öyle? Yaklaş abi biraz da. Harbi ufo abi.
Yaklaşın.
Baksana. Lan bu ne?
Bildiğin bir UFO bu.
Abi harbi ufo abi. Allah. Ya yukarıda da aynı. Mesar gibi. Ya gel bak gel. Gel bak gel. Bak. Bu ne Semra? Ya işte gel işte gökyüzünde Semra ya. Bu ne üçgen gene? Dön baksana. Uzaklaşıyor sanki abi. Bak gidiyor. Yok ya hareket ediyor sanki. Tepede oturuyormuş gibi ya.
Dağın üstüne durmuş gibi.
Hay Allah. Şuna. Ağda başka. Allah'ım bu ne böyle? Şeye benziyor bu, zile benziyor, çanak gibi.
Bak solundaki ışığa bak nasıl yanlış yanıyor.
Sinyali.
Sola atıyorsun.
Sisleri açmış abi bak.
Neyse annem bu tarafı çek.
This conference took place in Washington, and the cast of characters was almost strangely, well, conventional. And these aren't guys they just picked up off the streets. The panel includes former governor of Arizona, Fife Symington. Also participating was a retired Air Force captain who says he and his passengers saw a huge flying disc. Also a retired Peruvian Air Force pilot who says he came within 300 feet of a circular UFO flying at 63,000 feet. And then there was a retired U.S. Air Force security officer who, while stationed in England, was summoned to a downed aircraft in a forest.
Allah Allah. Lan bu ne? Ya yaklaşmıyorsan bozulacak görüntü.
Yaklaşmıyor.
Abi uçanlar değil mi? Ya hadi be bu.
Ben önce inanmıyordum.
Abi yok öyle bir şey canım. Ufo mu olur öyle? Yaklaş abi biraz da. Harbi ufo abi.
Yaklaşın.
Baksana. Lan bu ne?
Bildiğin bir UFO bu.
Abi harbi ufo abi. Allah. Ya yukarıda da aynı. Mesar gibi. Ya gel bak gel. Gel bak gel. Bak. Bu ne Semra? Ya işte gel işte gökyüzünde Semra ya. Bu ne üçgen gene? Dön baksana. Uzaklaşıyor sanki abi. Bak gidiyor. Yok ya hareket ediyor sanki. Tepede oturuyormuş gibi ya.
Dağın üstüne durmuş gibi.
Hay Allah. Şuna. Ağda başka. Allah'ım bu ne böyle? Şeye benziyor bu, zile benziyor, çanak gibi.
Bak solundaki ışığa bak nasıl yanlış yanıyor.
Sinyali.
Sola atıyorsun.
Sislere atmış abi baksana.
Yıldız'a yaklaşık.
Bildiğin çeker. Bekleyin ben geliyorum.
It's very difficult to generate good feelings between people because they come from different places with a different value system and different needs. In the society of the future, someone asked me, would everybody be alike in your society? Yes, in certain areas. They will love the earth and take care of it, stick their hands out when they meet another person with a different culture and say, your values are different than mine. I'd like to learn more about your way of thinking. They will be the same in that way. They will be open to new ideas, learn to listen to new ideas, ask relevant questions about ideas. Yes, in those areas they will be alike.
Lan bu ne? Of, kocaman.
Bildiğim bir UFO bu.
Abi harbi UFO. Hay Allah. Ya yakaladık abi. Nasıl öldürdük ya? Ya gel bak gel. Gel bak gel. Bak. Harbi UFO değil mi? Bu ne Semra?
I want to make a statement and make it very clear to anyone wondering, asking, thinking about whether aliens, ETs, star people are evil and or do they want to invade Earth with a zillion starships. I have to say very clearly, this idea is human generated, CIA propagandized, and totally, absolutely, quantifiably false. There will be no alien invasion from an alien, from an ET, from a star person, from a reality visitor. There may be a fake alien invasion using anti-gravity craft, which you don't know about. There may be a fake alien using U.S. military equipment or other military equipment, jet aircraft that you don't know about, anti-gravity helicopters, and so on and so forth. But if you have the idea, if there is a threat of an alien invasion, it is a scam, a lie, a cheat, and there are humans behind it. Humans, the same humans who started Iraq, 9/11, Katrina, the financial crisis in America. All of these are the same scoundrels, criminals ruling your planet. When we show up in the sky, it'll be peaceful. We will land, we will shake hands, we will say hello, and we'll tell you all about knowledge that you should have known a long time ago.
Allah'ım bu ne böyle? Şeye benziyor, bu zile benziyor, çanak gibi.
Bak solundaki ışığa bak nasıl yanıp sönüyor.
Sinyali.
Sol alt köşe.
Sislere atmış abi baksana. Bekleyin ben geleyim.
spread out and was interconnected with practically every center of power in our country and abroad as well. So this was the real strength and power of the family, going well beyond money alone. John D. III continued to run the family philanthropies, but was emerging from his father's shadow through his work in population control and U.S. Asia relations.
Put these meetings together, Lawrence Rockefeller hosted the Clintons at his ranch. He was one of the old Rockefeller guys, and he wanted the truth out, but his brother David Rockefeller, Chase Manhattan Bank, didn't. He doesn't. And Lawrence was the philosopher of the family. He went to Princeton with McDonald, old man McDonald, or McDonald Douglas Aerospace. And Lawrence really did want to get this fixed, but he got surrounded by people from the CIA that took all of his money and flushed it down the toilet. But when he was hosting the Clintons at his ranch, and he was going through all these materials that we had put together, Hillary Clinton stood up and said, "Stop. We don't want to hear any more. This is too dangerous." And that was the end of that. So by 1998, I had concluded that neither the Congress nor the President nor the United Nations, and I had met with the Boutros Ghali family, the UN Secretary General, were going to stick their necks out on this. It was too hot to handle. Therefore, we did the Disclosure Project.
To talk about their UFO sightings, but this apparently is no crackpot convention. Former high-level government and military officials are among those sharing what they've seen in the skies.
Я же жду прям не было ничего. Ну или правда, что ты говоришь.
Bringing this authentic footage to you. Subscribe to our channel here, and remember, keep your spirits up. This is Philip Muhammad for GWE-TV. There's more to come. Trust me. We happened to show up on the scene as I recorded this historical footage. Now as we continue showing you footage of one of the huge spacecraft which appeared from the eastern side of the New York skyline, as my camera was locked on a tripod at the Upper West Side of Manhattan on Central Park West, you can observe this genuine account of history in the making.
and FAA officials is lending its voice to the argument that we are not alone. Dr. Stephen Greer heads up the Disclosure Project, a group that compiles information from people who say they've encountered extraterrestrial forms of life.
We can establish through this testimony that that these objects of extraterrestrial origin have been tracked on radar going thousands of miles per hour, stopping and making right-hand turns. And
Since 1993, Dr. Greer says he has videotaped
There's a little story about how this all came about, but I'll save that for another time. Let's get back to that spacecraft. God, this is real. Back to It's plain to see that this spacecraft, like the second vessel I spotted, resembles the Great Pyramids. Some say that these may have influenced the construction of those pyramids. Yeah, that's something to think about. Let's stay tuned as we roll the film and watch the display of power as these friendly visitors express themselves to us. This surely is something for the record books.
UFOs. Capturing on videotape what are said to be UFOs. Unidentified flying objects. They are officially there. Bright objects, some sharp points of light moving quickly across the sky. The tape called Historic by some is saying it's the first time UFOs have had the backing of any country's armed forces. Now, a group of activists calling on the United States government and what...
Subscribe to our channel here, and remember, keep your spirits up.
With no foundation for understanding the science, the technology. And so I think in ancient times there were people who had encounters, and however, I think the way they might have been reported would have been in metaphors, in ways that would have made sense to them.
We at GWE-TV are honored to have the privilege of bringing this authentic footage to you. And for more information on these, we recommend these passages of scripture in both Bible and Holy Quran.
And welcome back to Coast to Coast. I'm George Nory. Micheal is the director of the New York Center for Extra Terrestrial Research and is the author of Alien Rock, the Rock and Roll Extraterrestrial Connection. Luckman was the very first investigator to expose television's infamous alien autopsy film as a hoax. Remember that. Announcing the discovery also of two new human-like faces on Mars photographed by NASA's global surveyor. Broke that story as well.
This is Philip Muhammad for GWE-TV. There's more to come. Trust me.
The government's got more than egg in its face, and it's been covering this thing up for more than 60 years. And all of these other countries, major countries, have released their files. And the United States is the one country that hasn't.
Micheal, tell me your interest in UFOs.
My interest in UFOs is really great. I'll tell you, I was a follower of Zechariah Sitchin. And, of course, he passed away recently. I understand, by the way, that Open Minds magazine, which is a very fine new magazine, I would say the best to come down the pike in many years. I'm in those bands, and it is I feel like, Sitchin really had it nailed when he talked about the Annunaki coming here from Planet X and basically jump-starting the human race by combining our DNA with theirs. Now, unfortunately, they did it for the wrong reason. And that is, does anyone who's read the 50 books know that they needed basically slaves. I hate to say it, but they needed slaves to help them mine for gold on this planet, to line their atmosphere, which which has this planet apparently has an internal sun. Each one of the planets in the solar system, of course, are very different from one another. And in the case of Planet X, they needed the gold, but so on one hand, they jump-started the human race. On the other hand, they enslaved us for a while. And then finally, better heads prevailed, and we were free. But they may be coming back very soon. I mean, Pigeon felt that it wouldn't be coming back for maybe another 50 years or so, and there's no way to really know. I don't know whether I believe the photographs that I've seen on the internet. On the other hand, that they're going to be coming back soon, within our lifetime, and possibly sooner than that. It's interesting that there's a signal that may be an intelligent signal coming from the exact dead center of the Milky Way galaxy presently. And that is the exact location where Earth lines up with the center of the Milky Way galaxy on December 21st, 2012. No question about it, according to the Mayan calendar.
That would be something, wouldn't it?
My God, there's going to be a crop circle there tomorrow morning. Oh, wow. Oh, there's another one. Oh, my God. Oh, my God. Come here. Here's another one.
Is it Christmas calendar? Well, it's going that way.
Oh! There's another. Oh my God! That's not fireworks, mate.
No, I don't think it is either. Yeah, because look, they're saying lit too long, John.
About 2 months ago, we had Stanley Fulham on the program, the former NORAD officer who, in a very uncanny way, Michael, predicted a UFO flap on the 13th of October, and he was right on the button. I mean, right on.
Yes. George, when I first heard about Stanley, read about him on the internet, etc., I had great doubts. I thought that he was probably either a government disinformation agent or that he was nuts. And I spoke to Stanley several hours on the phone. In fact, at the height of the wildness with the media, I mean, he was getting hundreds of inquiries a day. The media couldn't keep up with it in any way. And Stan convinced me that it's a real deal, that he is in touch with somebody who knows what's going on. And his latest information to me is that he plans is that the extraterrestrials will put on another demonstration within the first 2 weeks of the new year. In January, by roughly January 14th, 15th, somewhere in there, that the UFOs, according to Stanley, will be seen over London, over Moscow, and over China. And of course, we know that there's been a lot of activity recently in China that have been so intense that have caused the airports to close at some certain times in China.
The royal family seems to be interested in UFOs. I think they've read your book, haven't they?
Yes. Prince William packed my book in his bag, in his luggage when he went when he was courting actually Kate Middleton. They went to Balmoral Castle about couple of years ago now, and that happens to be the same castle where which is owned by Queen Elizabeth, where UFOs were actually chased by RAF aircraft. But he saw the book, liked the book, read the book, and other people in the royal family, particularly Queen Elizabeth, was very fond of crop circles. Prince Philip has been researching and involved deeply in the UFO subject since the 1950s. In fact, he used to have, and it probably still has, in his office at Buckingham Palace, a map of the world in which he put in pins for where UFO sightings had occurred. Now, if he was doing that today, he'd run out of pins. Additionally, Prince William's father, Prince Charles, also in the 1980s was on a plane flight from the United States to England, and his plane was buzzed by a UFO as well. But there's a great amount of interest on the part of Prince Philip and Queen Elizabeth, particularly the UFOs and crop circles.
I wonder what they know, Michael, that we don't.
Well, the interesting thing, of course, is that the Ministry of Defense, plays down UFOs, and Prince William is an RAF pilot.
Sure.
So he's sort of, the fact that he's read Alien Rock indicates, well, they're very interested, though. The royal family is really quite interested in this subject. Lord Mountbatten, who was a cousin of Prince Philip, also was tied in with the subject. There are a great many people. In fact, one of the officials connected with Prince Philip actually claimed to have face-to-face communication with an alien at one point. I am, however, extremely concerned about the sun, and it's ironic that it happens to coincide with 2012, and they're talking about this potentially insane solar activity. Sunspots, I've heard from some NASA scientists, they had talked about sunspots that could be as large as the planet. I mean, sunspots totally drive our weather, to say nothing about, the potential effects on our satellites and everything, food distribution and everything else moves based on on satellite communication. But as far as the Annunaki, I don't think they're connected with the sun, but I think they may be returning here sooner than most of us think.
Just spectacular right about now. But, I mean, there's no doubt, natural causes are the prime reason for people to spot these things. But it's that percent that aren't natural, that are truly UFOs, unknown, and unidentified, that we just really, are trying to theorize what they might be. The big point with meteors is, they dissipate very quickly. These sightings that most people are reporting, they're doing 90-degree turns, they hover, they stay up in the air. That doesn't happen with a meteorite, Michael.
Absolutely not. Absolutely not. Meteors don't make right-hand turns.
Michael, Jim Mars is coming on next hour to talk with us about government conspiracies and manipulation and everything else. And you've heard of Project Bluebeam, which is this story that governments will do a holographic images of alien craft in order to trick us, to manipulate us, to get us to basically get down on our knees and say, help us, governments, help us. And that's going to be another way for them to try to take over and do whatever they're going to do. What do you think of that theory?
Yeah, I'm aware of the theory. It does concern me, but the final analysis, I just think that it's fairly unlikely that that's what's going to happen. There's no question that it has always disturbed me for many years that UFO researchers have said constantly, well, this is going to be the year of disclosure, and it's been going on. I've been involved in this subject for 25 years, and I've heard it every single year. However, qualitatively, there's not even a question, anymore, that disclosure is right around the corner. I mean, when you have hundreds of former military officers and videotape depositions, which I'm in possession of, that talk about UFOs are real, that they know about Roswell, that there's been a worldwide UFO cover-up, all of these things happening. When you have a news conference in Washington on the UFOs and Nukes news conference covered by 100 news organizations, we have the leak about a possible official greeter at the United Nations, even though that turned out not to be really the case. But when all of this stuff is happening on a constant basis, and there's Stanley Fulham, and all you have to do, of course, is look at YouTube also to see the quality of course, there are hoaxes there too, but see the quality of many UFO sightings. It's a whole new world as far as UFOs. I don't think, and I would pray that it's not the case that there's going to be some trickery involved. I don't think that is likely to be the case. I think that real disclosure is happening, and it seems that the more that members of the human race are open to contact, the more likely it is for contact to happen. I think the big news of October 13th sightings, and there were debates of whether the UFOs that were seen in New York, for example, near where I live, whether they were real, whether they were balloons or whatever. All I can say is that the fact that people are looking to the sky unlike ever before. I mean, perhaps a little, somewhat like this in the 50s, but I've just never seen anything like this in my experience. That they're really looking for contact, and I think that's why contact is likely to occur. But the real shocker is what Stanley says, and it's hard to believe because, but we could hope that it turns out to be true, that in 2014, which is just a few years from now, that there will be open face-to-face communication between extraterrestrials and the human race, that there will be an open landing. This is a scene, of course, right out of something like either Close Encounters or the original Day the Earth Stood Still, and that there will be face-to-face communication with world leaders. It really would. It really would.
Here's another one.